so now defending the guillotine on the ground when I'm inside my opponent's guard. So right here, I'm inside Brandon's guard. We're going to show a little bit slightly different angles. One right here. When Brandon has my neck, I definitely do not want to grab his wrist. Okay? Now this is a huge problem. If I go to grab his wrist, now I'm using muscle versus muscle. It's not a very good idea at all. And typically what people try to do is keep their elbow in tight and grab the wrist. Now here's the challenge. If I grab Brandon's wrist and I keep my elbow in tight, he's going to move his leg around my wrist and climb up. And now he's starting to lock in a triangle choke. And it's actually a really easy triangle choke to get. So that's a huge tip right there. If you ever start to guillotine someone, maybe you're just holding onto the head. You're not even trying to choke them yet. And they're grabbing your wrist, and you can feel that elbow beside the outside of your leg. Pop it up and go for a triangle. So one more time there. I'm grabbing onto his wrist. My elbow's by his leg. He's just going to open his guard, slide his leg around, and punch it through. And then he's just looking to tighten up his triangle choke from there. Or go for omoplata, arm bars, whatever you're looking for. So we don't want to do this because that doesn't really stop it. What we're looking to do is I need to cut my elbow inside and put it on his hip. And then my hand goes to his head. So now when Brandon tries to arch, and squish harder and harder, it just pulls my elbow into his hip, which if you watch Brandon right now, he doesn't like. Okay, so there's a little bit of a nerve there for one. Sometimes it's a little ticklish. Mostly it's just like that spearing, stabbing kind of a pain. So I'm not looking to do that on purpose and make him let go because of this. I just want to stop his hips from raising up and trying to choke it or straighten me out. So again, it'll be hard to get my elbow in this way. I want to cut it down and keep the hand by my head. Okay, so now when Brandon tries to stretch me out, and he can choke me as hard as he wants, go ahead. It's not working. If he tries to go for that triangle and open his guard, my elbow keeps his hip on the floor. So there is no triangle to worry about. So that takes care of this side. Now we got to do this side. So I'm going to still do the same thing on this side. I want my elbow in, and this is super important. Hand is on my forehead, not on my eye or my nose or mouth, anything like that. Just hand on my forehead, and you can slightly turn your chin in, and that will help you sometimes. I find I don't really need to. It doesn't matter, but some people like it. So let's move back so you have a little bit of room. So this one, now, just like we're on the ground, I want to reach over his head. Now, when we were standing, I have my hand on his knee, arm over the head. On the ground, I want my arm over the head, but I can't reach his knee. That's why I'm pushing off his hip with my elbow. Okay. So hand cuts in, arm reaches around, and 2 fingers in his armpit. Okay. From here, I stack up, and I put the weight on my shoulder, and I start turning. Now, what's going to happen is one of 2 things. If he's trying to choke you, he might not feel that you have shoulder pressure on his neck, and he's going to go unconscious, right? Or they might tap, or they're going to open their legs. So it's one of 3 things that happen. He'll go to sleep, he's going to tap because you're choking him, or he's going to open his legs because he realizes this is no good for him anymore. The reason the choke is there is because my bicep is on his neck on one side, and because of where my head is here, it jams his shoulder in. So essentially you're doing a head and arm choke, right? So again, hand around, up, walk around. If he opens his guard, I'm just going to push on his hip, drop my hip down, step out, we'll go back to side mount, and I'm going to leave his arm around my head. Okay, I want to hold that. And we're going into that Von Flue style choke. So again, a little bit different angle here. He's got my head, hand cuts in, hand on the forehead. I can rest here as long as I want. Arm goes around, fingers in the bicep or in the armpit, up, squish, push on the hip, drop out, back step, and the whole time, I'm applying pressure on the choke. Now, being nice for Brandon, but by the time we get to side mount, he's been in the choke for probably 5-6 seconds. So it's definitely going to be a little bit of a struggle trying to get your feet out and that and your hips out. Don't worry, be patient, because the whole time you're doing this, you're choking him. We'll go one more time facing straight ahead. There you go. Okay, so be patient with this choke. Have some fun, guys.